is quicker, faster, all these great things which we look for in technologies, but it does come with a whole host of new attacks, and most of them really the vector comes back to education. We are X on the curve here, and everyone will always take that chance to compromise when there is a lack of education.
That's fair. Does anyone violently disagree with this, or else we can move on to the next question? We all agree?
I believe that's getting better every day. I remember when I started, we need to download the blockchain from Bitcoin. It was like a huge, and I lost Bitcoins for that backup. And nowadays you have a hardware wallet, and things are getting better and better. And before it was one exchange, it was MJAC, and it was hacked and everyone lost. Now you have a lot of possible exchange for your work, and it takes time, but we will get there.
There you go. I think that's fair. Next question. We got one over here, but Louis, I have a gentleman over there as well.
Thanks for your insights, guys. Vitaliy, Norbert, you guys mentioned semi-centralized is hopefully the way of the future. What part is centralized, what part is decentralized, if you had to look at the stack?
Again, it actually very much depends on the particular industry, on the particular case. But it's common to say that blockchain is about trust. It's actually opposite. Blockchain is about absence of trust, because you don't bring trust to the network where it's not necessary. Actually, you don't need to trust the second party in your deal, because it's all decentralized. It's all on a blockchain, rather than in nowadays in real world. You have to trust the party which is centralized, like a bank or an online retailer, card scheme, or something like that. So it very much depends on case by case. I think, as I said, where there is a space for absence of human interaction, where is the space of kind of not interfering with a centralized server, that might be a blockchain and decentralization. But at the end, there still be like a general trusted entity when you choose whether you trust it or not.
Ed, I see you jumping up and down.
To jump in on that, I mean, I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear, but I understand there was more focus on exchanges and where the centralization, decentralized bit. Now, in terms of mirroring some of the stuff Vitaliy says, with the decentralized aspects, I think definitely on something like trade matching. If you've got a global reach of exchanges across the globe, I'm trading on exchange A and my counterparty's on another exchange halfway around the globe. In terms of knowing that trust and that record of the trade is going to get done on the blockchain, that doesn't need to be centralized, and removing that centralized body, in a traditional financial world, that would be the clearinghouse. Getting rid of that is great. Where it is needed, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who disagree with this, is kind of back to the AML and KYC, what we call in industry the on and off ramps to the exchanges. Just echoing something I've already mentioned, is that we are in a paradigm where we are still interacting with the traditional financial markets. We're trying to get that capital flow from A to B, and in doing that, we're going from a system where AML KYC is the norm. You need to know who the actor is. And that is essentially has to be done by a centralized body where it's a third-party AML KYC provider, and those kind of best practices and all of that I definitely think still need to remain centralized.
Yeah, actually, that if that's of any value, when we built Ethereum back in the days with V and Gavin, Gavin really insisted that the front end of the application also be decentralized. So you would have the so-called dApps, which essentially are zip files which contain the HTML, CSS, and images, similar to our website, that's pushed through a BitTorrent-like network called Swarm, currently being built by Victortron, and then these dApps exchange messages between each other with a protocol called Whisper, which is kind of like 0MQ but decentralized, right? You wanted the whole thing to be decentralized. Today, I hear a lot of people saying dApp, 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 I have a dApp, da-da-da. But it's a website that's hosting it, and like you said, they have full control over it. So it's not a dApp, but the word stuck. So that's a good question, actually. Watch out for that. Yeah. We have another question here, that lady.
It's just a more generic question, but the debate was very good. And I wish some of the governors of central banks could have been here, because the attention, you said, should be on technology rather than the product. And I will try to rephrase, will nations who don't consider blockchain or crypto risk falling behind? There are crypto crises currently. Just look about 2 weeks ago in Uganda, you'll see the president and the central bank governors and a whole political instability. So how would you deal with that?
Well, from the economic aspect, I'm betting that in the near future we'll have the central banks having Bitcoin or Ethereum as reserve of value. I'm sure about that. And we talk about management, yeah, that can also happen. And the other interesting solution is for voting, for democracy. There are a few solutions that are using blockchain for the voting aspect of democracy. So yeah, this will happen, for sure.
Anyone else want to pick on that? And Vitaliy? No. All right, I think we're all in agreement. Next question. Gentleman over there in the front. Oh, no, there's another gentleman over there first, so you'll be next.
Hello. How would you advise any new businesses to integrate token-based systems into our fiat currency? Because at this stage, not many people are really aware of cryptocurrency. Let's face the fact, right? We start talking about bitcoins and various other currencies, but is there any general direction or guidance for those newbies to give them an advice on integrating your cryptocurrency into fiat currency in the general market?
Anyone?
Is that in the sense of integrating it into products or integrating it into, say, e-commerce, for example? I just need some clarification on the question. Like, you say integration of tokens and fiat, but in what sense?
Yeah, can you clarify your question, whether it's integrating the tokens?
So exchanges, converting your digital currency, how does it relate to the fiat currency? Are people really going to be adopting the digital currency all across the board immediately? The answer is no. So in this transition period, is there any way wherein fiat currency can still be relevant, but exchanges could be used to either convert your digital currency into fiat currency? Are there any exchanges at all?
So is your question that whether or not these guys, the exchanges, you're the exchanges, is the question whether or not the application provider can make connections to their servers to essentially take fiat and spit out crypto? Is that what you're saying?
Either their servers, or is there any ecosystem which will allow you to do that?
Right. Are you pointing out that the fact that it's really difficult to get crypto today, essentially? Right, I get you. Yeah. So actually, he's got a very good point. If you're in the tube and there is a chap who's playing Angry Birds, it doesn't matter if you have an iPhone or an Android phone. You're going to look over his shoulder. You can probably download Angry Birds within 30 seconds, right? If I see a DApp and I don't have Ether, I'm going to have to go and contact an exchange and you guys money through, say, some bank accounts and so on. How do you address this, this friction, essentially, and what's the right way to approach it today in a pragmatic way?
I mean, I can probably give an example of where we've tried to address that in a real-world case. So, yeah, you know, the easy answer is, in order to address that, we just need to make the on and off ramps more adoptable, more easier to everyone. So that's increasing usability of like the merchants, you know, the app systems, the exchanges, you name it. And I think actually I would argue the community is doing what we can to do that, especially with the slight uphill battle of the banking community not providing decent banking solutions for cryptocurrency or blockchain firms. And for the avoidance of doubt, I'm sure probably everyone in this room knows, but you know, if you are a cryptocurrency firm or blockchain firm, getting a bank account in the UK is like, you know, next finding the Easter Bunny. It doesn't happen. Now, you know, how we've tried to address it. So on BlockEx markets, we have a section of our exchange where we're dedicated to ICOs and allowing people to participate in ICOs. We are cognizant and aware of the fact that, you know, back in the day, it was a case of, right, go buy some ETH, send it to an address, and you'll ping you back a token. That's fine if you're used to that and you're up the curve on that, but for a lot of people, it's not. So we wanted to remove that barrier, so essentially it made any input currency or asset agnostic, so whether it's fiat, ETH, Bitcoin, jelly beans, you name it, doesn't matter. Sent it in, and then allowed us, we created an interim state token on Ethereum network, which would then essentially just ping the timestamp of the asset, the price, and then convert that in the background to whatever that token was, to then spit it back at you, creating that UI and that UX. So it was a much easier journey for the end user. So to wrap up, probably to answer your question, there are some stuff out there. I do think the community is working towards that and will continue to do so.
Maybe you want to add anything to this? No? Does that answer your question, sir? Excellent. Yep. I think the next questions are here. Then we'll go to you, sir.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for your time. My name's Gary MacFarlane from Interactive Investor, stockbroker here in London. I've been covering crypto for about 5 years, and we've heard a lot about what it can bring to the financial institutions, the BlackRocks and the Fidelities, and they are now starting to hire, but they've been running pilots for some time and still nothing has emerged. So is that an indication of the problems of interoperability and others regarding blockchain? And related to that, where are we going to see the real big breakthroughs happen in terms of adoption? Is it actually going to be among the current incumbents, not just in the financial world, but I'm thinking social media, I'm thinking Facebook, who have now set up a division focused on cryptocurrency and encryption. If Facebook launches crypto tomorrow, they could wipe out the rest of the crypto world. They could create currency tomorrow. So could Apple. Could that be the way things go? Actually, there won't be disruption from the outside, but from the inside.
Who's got a crystal ball here? You got a crystal ball there.
So I discovered Bitcoin when I was studying about trends, like how will be the future, how is. And for one trend, go mainstream, it usually takes from 20 years. And we are with 8 years of Bitcoin, 9 years. So this takes time. It will not be overnight. So everyone who is here now is an influencer. So he can say for his friends about Bitcoin, and this will help. So more and more people know about Bitcoin. So this is little ant work. Everyone have to do his job and share the benefits of using. And we will achieve the mainstream doing in this way. If you consider like the internet, I see the internet going more mainstream. Like for my mother started to use that when Facebook started. It was 2007, I think. So the internet started in the 90s, so it was 17, 20 years. So yeah, I believe we are in the middle of the process and we'll get the mainstream with more time and more years.
Anyone else want to pick that up? It's a good question.
Just wanted to jump. I mean, I think one of the issues